Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
If you can, survive!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, back at it for a very special episode of In The Kliq. And AEW has a stacked weekend lined up for us wrestling fans. First up is AEW Rampage tonight at 10 p.m. on TNT. Plus, wrestling's most prestigious titles are on the line in the special event. It's the debut of AEW Battle of the Belt, live this Saturday, January 8th at 8 p.m. on TNT. And joining me to talk all about it is the current AEW Women's World Champion, Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D. How's it going, Britt?
What's going on? I'm having a great day. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm so excited to be talking to you. Big fan. Of course, she's a big fan of AEW. So let's just jump right into it. This Saturday at Battle of the Belts, you are defending your AEW Women's Championship against Riho, who we saw defeat you in a non-title match at the November 26th episode of Rampage, which earned her this title shot. And even though that match was 6 weeks ago, you've had a lot of time to process everything. So I'm just curious, where's your head at and what can fans expect for this rematch?
So, I mean, obviously, she's beat me. I've actually never beaten her in a singles competition. So I know that and I'm aware of that. But at the same time, like, I don't think there's any female in professional wrestling that has more momentum than me right now. Mm-hmm. And there's no way I'm stepping into 2022 and the first thing I do is drop my championship title belt. That's got to be the start of the worst year ever. So can't happen, won't happen to me.
Okay, good. I'm excited for seeing the matchup this Saturday on TNT and also seeing Cody Rhodes defend the TNT championship against Sammy Guevara. A lot of stuff to look forward to for this new special. And, you know, look back on your career so far, your time with AEW. You've been with them since day one. And over the last 3 years, you have accomplished a lot. And I just want to go back, a few weeks ago with CM Punk and his promo, to MJF. And, you know, he mentioned you as one of the four pillars of AEW. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on what CM Punk had to say about you.
I'm glad someone said it because I agree. I mean, you can't say AEW and the pillars without bringing up my name, too. I've been here, I am the face of the women's division, and women's wrestling is just as important as the men's wrestling. So to say that I'm not a pillar, you need an examination. How could you possibly argue that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you, and I was so happy to hear CM Punk acknowledge you, and rightfully so. You deserve it, just all the work and effort you've been putting in. So I'm glad, one of the biggest names in pro wrestling acknowledged you, so I'm just very happy for you. But I know you got the match this Saturday against Riho, and I'm not trying to look ahead, but, last night, I was thinking about, some of the other matches of your career so far with AEW, and, it's almost March, so it'll be almost a full year since your Lights Out match with Thunder Rosa. And so it's almost a year later. So, just your thoughts looking back on that match and what it meant to you.
I mean, that match was absolutely pivotal for my career, really. And I always say, like, as a wrestler, you kind of dream of having a match or a moment or something that everybody's talking about for the right reasons, and something that will go down that everybody remembers, a check mark in the history book. And I feel like that match did that for me. So it's something I'll forever be grateful for. And, it is kind of bittersweet that it was during the pandemic and there were no fans, but I think that's almost what adds to the charm of it, is that match did get the attention and the reaction that it did with no live audience.
Absolutely. And so last night, as I was prepping and typing up my notes for myself, just total coincidence, I was looking on Twitter and I saw Thunder Rosa tweet this last night, and perfect timing in regards to I was going to be talking to you today. She tweeted out, "It's been 489 days since I last fought for the AEW Women's Championship. Time to start hunting. I'm hungry." And like I said, I know you got Riho this weekend and, you know, your mindset should be on that match. But hypothetically, you know, if you get past Riho, looking ahead after that, just what your response is to Thunder Rosa's tweet last night.
So we have a ranking system in AEW, and if you're ranked number one, if you're a top contender, you get a shot at the belt. So all she just did is tell everybody it's been 400 and whatever days since she's been a top contender. So I'm not too worried about her. If she ever makes her way back to the top, of course, you know, bring it on. But I've got the belt. She's coming for me. I don't care about her.
Okay. No, I'm looking forward to that potential rematch at some point down the road. But also, you know, looking at AEW, and over the last year, we've seen them have the Forbidden Door open and working with other promotions. And, you know, looking at it's been mostly for the men's division. So I would love to get your thoughts on what the Forbidden Door can lead to for the women's division. I know last year AEW had some female wrestlers appear at like NWA Empower, but what kind of matches or events you would like to see the Forbidden Door do for the AEW women's division?
Yeah, I mean, obviously one of my best friends and who I think one of the best female wrestlers out there today is Deonna Purrazzo. She wrestles for Impact, so I would love to definitely lock up with her one day. And, you know, and not to kind of turn the tides here, but unfortunately, like WWE has been releasing so many talent that right now you don't even have to cross any forbidden doors. There's just so many amazingly talented free agents right now, period. And there's so many that I would love to wrestle that I've never wrestled before. Is
there any specific names that jump to mind? I mean, I know, God, over the last 2 years.
Tony Storm, definitely.
Yes,
Tony Storm, I think when you talk about top female wrestlers, if she doesn't come to mind, then you're not watching, because she's absolutely phenomenal. She's wrestled all over the world. I've never wrestled her, and I would love to somehow, some way, someplace lock up with her.
I would love to see that. I mean, that was the name last night when I was thinking this over. Yeah, Tony Storm is like the number one person I would love to see come to AEW and, yeah, mix it up with yourself and the rest of the division. I'm glad you said that. So, you know, what are some of your goals, though, for the women's division in AEW? You know, it is a new year, and resolutions and goals are, you know, a lot of people this time like to think about stuff. So, you know, what's like the next big landmark you'd like to see AEW in the women's division accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, so we're just on such a forward momentum right now. I mean, the women's division, just the wrestling, the storylines, everything has just been so great. We have, you know, and we have another belt now. We have the women's TBS title that Jade Cargill just won, and we're really, I just think, growing so quickly as a women's division. The women's division was under fire, you know, pretty aggressively at first, but just how quickly we've turned the tide, just like taking all that criticism and kind of threw it at everyone's face. So moving forward, I just want to keep building our women's division. You know, how cool would it be for a women's match to be the main event of a pay-per-view sometime, or just to keep growing in that sense, you know, making sure that the women's matches are just as important, which they are, as you see in our booking, as all of the men's matches. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to main event several AEW shows now, and it's not so much of a marquee event when that does happen. It's you know, there's a good match coming up and it should be the main event.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you on that 100%. And, you know, just going off of, like I said, just thinking about your time in AEW so far, just one of the things I think all of us fans really love and seeing just grow over time is your friendship with Tony Schiavone. I mean, I'm a huge fan. He's been the voice of my generation for years. And so I just would love to know just what kind of impact Tony Schiavone has had with your wrestling career and or just your personal life.
Yeah, oh my gosh, he's the best. I will never be able to thank him for how much he's helped me in all aspects of my life. I mean, he's one of my best friends. Anytime there's anything going on, good, bad, you know, he's one of the first I call, first to talk to when I'm excited or to vent about. But just how he helped me, especially early on with those promos. When I first turned heel, it's I don't know where I would be without him, because I was so nervous to be cutting these live promos as a bad guy, something I had never done before. And I just always knew in the back of my head, hey, if anything goes wrong, I have Tony Schiavone here. Like, he's pretty good at this. Like, we're going to be okay. So just to have him there and along for the ride, and just like this lasting friendship I have with him, I'm so thankful for.
No, that's great to hear. And that's something I was going to ask you as well is, like, you know, when you first started AEW, yeah, your promos were great, but then, you know, as your character evolved on screen, it just, you know, it has become like must-see TV to see you in the ring, cut a promo along with your matches. So, yeah, what kind of inspire just that progression, you know, for you to improve so much? And was it mostly just Tony Schiavone, or was there anyone else that helped inspire just your in-ring promos?
Well, yeah, Tony, I mean, definitely Tony Khan. It was his kind of idea to get me in the ring and with a mic anyway.
Okay.
And I worked really closely with Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes on a lot of my promos, just delivery. Like, people don't understand how important it is to just be confident when you're delivering a promo. That's everything. You can be singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. As long as you're confident, people will listen. Okay,
that's great. And I love hearing that. So also, you know, I love your whole Team DMD. You know, you got Rebel, you got Jamie Hayter. Has there any been thoughts or consideration about potentially adding a fourth member to the group?
I don't think so. Not at this time. We got a pretty good squad. I got the belt. I don't see anything wrong with what we're doing, so why change it? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Okay. No, I totally understand that. Also, you know, something I've been really kind of just curious is, you know, we all know your boyfriend, Adam Cole, and, you know, I'm a huge fan of his as well. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've heard some of his interviews where he's talking about, the decision process of, you know, leaving WWE and NXT to come to AEW. What role did you have in that? Did you if you can share a little bit, did you have any persuasion, or did you give him advice or your perspective of AEW? Like, what role did you have in having him come over to AEW?
Well, I didn't really have to give him any persuasion or advice or anything. I mean, we live together, so he knows pretty much everything that goes on at my workplace, the behind the scenes, how it works, how it runs, and who's all there. I didn't know what he was going to do, to be totally honest with you, and I didn't want to add any outside pressure because I knew he was already, you know, really stressed out about it. He had a lot of people at NXT that he was really good friends with and loved working with, but I knew he was really, really curious and wanting to come to AEW because, you know, just, you know, everyone that's there, myself, Kenny, the Young Bucks is, you know, his best friend, and then just to be part of something new and to be part of this fan base, because he loves the fans. That you would be hard pressed to find a wrestler that loves fans more than Adam Cole. If you ever, it sometimes drives me nuts, I have to admit, but we'll be out to eat at the airport, anywhere, he will stop and sign 1 million autographs for anybody. And AEW just has the best fans on the planet, and you can't argue that. They're just absolutely electric. And I know he could see that watching our shows, because we do get to travel every week to these big arenas where we have, you know, tens of thousands of people, and that's something that he craves is that fan interaction. And not to mention Tony Khan is just absolutely fantastic. So I knew as soon as he talked to Tony Khan, that was it, because there's no boss better in any area of any industry than Tony Khan.
Oh, I love hearing that. Just especially, just the potential of what can happen now with AEW, especially with Kyle O'Reilly joining AEW and Bobby Fish. And of course, just the possibilities and all the fans fantasy booking about what could happen throughout this year. So it's just very exciting stuff here. Listen, I know you have a busy day, so I appreciate your time, but I do have one question for you. A fun question I do want to ask. And, for a lot of us fans, as I mentioned, we know, you know, Adam Cole is your boyfriend, and he shared the story of how you guys met by way of Bumble. And just, you know, we've seen the story on YouTube and whatnot. So listen, as a single man myself who has used a variety of dating apps, any advice or tips for me using Bumble to help me stand out compared to everyone else?
Yeah, just have a personality. You know, don't the hey, hi, what's up, how are you? That's so boring, and girls get that 100 times on the app a day. Like, just have a personality, and be yourself, and don't be too aggressive. Like the first meet up, hey, let's hang out. That I feel like that's so daunting. Like, when do you ask that? When do you not? Just that'll come. Just be yourself and have a personality, and the rest will follow suit.
Okay, cool. No, that's the thing. I'm always kind of trying to think of, how to engage in that conversation. So I appreciate the advice right there. Listen, Britt, I can't thank you enough for making the time today. I encourage everyone to tune in. Of course, you got AEW Dynamite had made the big switch to TBS. You can watch that every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Rampage, Friday night at 10 p.m. on TNT. And then, of course, this Saturday, it's going to be Battle of the Belts, 8 p.m. this Saturday on TNT. I look forward to that. Your match with Riho defending the AEW Women's Championship. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed that AEW makes their way to the West Coast at some point in the near future. And hopefully we could do this interview in person. So, Britt, thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
Thank you. I also hope we get over there soon. I hope we get to meet up.
Absolutely. So, let's continue this conversation in person.
Thank you.
Good luck, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. There you have it. Thank you again to AEW Women's World Champion, Dr. Britt Baker D.M.D, for being on the show. And like I said at the top of the interview, make sure to tune in every Friday night for brand new episodes of AEW Rampage at 10 p.m. on TNT. Plus, on Saturday, January 8th, will be the debut of AEW Battle of the Belts at 8 p.m., also on TNT. And in case you missed the announcement, AEW Dynamite is every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on TBS. And you can follow Britt Baker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Britt Baker. Make sure to follow AEW on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well. All right, Kliqsters, let's go home now. Remember to subscribe to In The Kliq on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're also on a ton of other major podcast platforms. Help the show out by rating, reviewing, leave a comment, and share the podcast. Subscribe to In The Kliq's YouTube page, watch the videos, hit the like button, and leave a comment. Please follow In The Kliq on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for @InTheKliq. Email us at inthekliq@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for tuning in and for all the support. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.